Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves.
Ho, 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 it's Mad Dog Merv, and welcome to today's show. So, for today's show, well, we are less than a week until Christmas. I didn't really want to put up my Christmas show the day after Christmas because, everyone's kind of Christmased out. They're going shopping, all that kind of fun stuff. I wanted to do the Christmas show during the Christmas season, which is really before Christmas. So, there's this project that I have had in the works for, 6-7 years. It's been a long time. Back when I used to play Santa, of course, I had a red 95 Mustang convertible. And it was so much fun to go around in my Santa suit and have the top down, go get gas in different places like that. And just the fun of having a red convertible Mustang, and being Santa. And I thought, wow, for a neat project, I'd really like to do Santa in his sleigh. I built a model of the Mustang. It wound up in my Mustang collection. And eventually I found a project that really I wanted to do. And that is the old Rommel's Ride. I have the kit. I don't really want to build it as Rommel's Ride. And the wheels and tracks are just so hokey on it that I really I was gonna sell it, was gonna get rid of the kit, and then I got thinking, if I convert that, I could make that into Santa's Ride. And so I had in my mind what I wanted to do. You're going to see today the fruition of this project. It's been sitting for so long. I painted it like 5 years ago. I don't even know if it was spray can or what I sprayed it with, but a nice red, and it came out well. I knew what I wanted to do for the interior. I knew kind of some of the decorations I wanted to put on it. And the only thing I was missing was a good figure. I had a Jimmy Flintstone years ago, Santa figure that was standing, but I don't know whatever happened to him. And I really wanted one that was sitting. So, years have passed. I could never really find one during any of the Christmas seasons until this year. This year I felt inspired by some work that someone else had done, and we'll go through that in the video. And I found on eBay the perfect figures. So we're going to take a look at Santa's new ride, Mad Dog Merv style. Stick with us, folks, and have a happy holiday. So this all starts with Rommel's rod. I picked this thing up years ago and was going to build it, but I got looking at the tracks and the wheel assembly, just so cheesy. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Others have done some great work. This guy here did individual track links and other wheels, and it looks great. You can really make this look decent. Of course, you've got to do a lot of work to it. This guy here pretty much built it from the box, and yeah, it looks pretty darn good. But everybody kind of does Rommel's Rod like Rommel's Rod, except, well, this is Rats Live. He's one of the guys that I've talked about on the channel here before. Does some really interesting work, and when I saw this about a month ago, it reminded me I needed to dig out my project for the year and see if I could find some figures for it. So I did, and got me to finish the Rommel's Rod as Santa's Ride. I had envisioned this years ago. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but here's the car finished. Now I just have to get some figures. So on eBay, I found Iceman Collections has 1/25th scale called Naughty Santa. The reason he's listed as Naughty Santa, he's got two different hands you can put on. One, he's flipping you off. And obviously I couldn't use that. So the other hand is holding a gift, and that's the one I used. Very high quality, really highly recommend Iceman Collections 3D printed Santa. So I washed them up really good with some soapy water, and once they dried, I went ahead and hit them with some Mr. Primer Surfacer 1000. My understanding is this stuff's supposed to work really good on resin, particularly 3D printed resin. So we're going to try it out, and sure enough, I think she looks great with the primer. Ready to go, ready to put my color coats down. And for the skin, we're going to use the 3G AK Figures Flesh and Skin set. Mostly on him, we're going to start with the base flesh, which is kind of a dark color. And on her, we're going to start with the light flesh. Have her with just a little bit lighter skin tone. And these are the colors we're going to use primarily for the face and arms and legs on the figures. So here he is with his base flesh, and here she is with the light flesh, and you can see there's a slight tonal difference, but not a whole lot. This gives us a good base to start working with. And then I use the shadow flesh for the lines in his abs and around his eyes, near the nose. Now you've seen, I've done a painting tutorial before on figures, so you can check that out. I'll put a link in the description. You can see the lighter colors here coming through now. I decided to use a red from Gunzy for the suits, and they look great. The white is just Mission Models white primer. I use that for my white almost exclusively. It's a great color. So here's a picture I took with them kind of sort of done, but I like to take a picture and blow it up real close, a digital picture, so I can see in detail things that I can't see through my Optivisor. And sure enough, when I blow the digital photo up, I can see, ooh, I got to work on the eyes. The blending isn't where it needs to be. There's definitely some areas that I am going to have to touch up, and that's why I take that digital photograph and do that. So I'm going to go back with my colors again. With her hair, you can see that I used kind of a sand tan color. I can't remember what the color was. It was an enamel. Went over that with my brown wash that I've used on just about everything, and then highlighted it with some highlight color on the flesh. Anyway, so I go back and I touch these areas up where I want to make the definitions on his chest a whole lot tighter, and voila, you can see here under a flash that definitely looks a whole lot better. I still have blending that I need to do. I'm not very good with blending yet, but you know, the basic tonal areas and where they go, you know, that's turned out pretty good. On his chair, I used that kind of a reddish brown flesh that comes with this set that you use around the lips. That's what I colored the chair and gave it a nice black wash, and voila. You can see that I've used my Molotow chrome, liquid chrome for the ribbons on the boxes, and you can see here we've used some brass for the buckle. Now her face turned out pretty decent after I went back, but you see I still need to work on the fingers a little bit. The highlights are a little bit too much. On the ribbon here, we use some of that gold liquid solution that I use over the Molotow to give it kind of a bright gold, shine. So let's put them in their new ride, and fits absolutely perfect. Just enough, if I stick him back in the corner a little bit, just enough that she can sit on the side there. You can see these little fuzzy little things here I put on the side along with some jingle bells, and the present sitting there on the side of the fender. She's supposed to be the driver, but decided to get out and take a cheesecake photo with Santa. How's that? You can see this. I don't remember what I used for the paint on the car. Might have been a spray can. It might have been something I airbrushed. It was like 4 or 5 years ago I painted this thing. It's been sitting that long. But for the Santa on the front, he's just a little HO scale Santa that makes a good radiator ornament. Some brass for his buckle. And you can see the white highlights I've put in his beard. His beard was just NATO brown with a little bit of white highlights. This is a sock that I got off an old ornament that had broken, and perfect use for it right here. So, all in all, I like how this turned out. The tracks are painted with a roof brown color, and of course, lots of brass all over this thing. Put some little speckled ornament things on the side of the driver's door to cover up where the shovel should go. So here's an overall shot, and I think this turned out pretty good. The little Christmas trees where the flags are supposed to go was, I think, a decent touch. So thanks for joining us, folks. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas. We will see you again next week.